Hello, my lovelies. How are y'all doing today? My name is the Sailman, and welcome to a game called Lake of Voices. This game is about a week old at the time of me recording this. Actually, it is exactly a week old at the time of me recording this. I haven't played this yet. I have no idea what's going on. I looked up free-to-play horror games by release date. I found this and one more. So you know what? We're gonna play it. We're gonna see what happens. I don't know how to... Enter? Enter, okay. Choices! I know how choices work. Choices are timed. Time running out is something you can... Time running out isn't something to completely avoid. In some cases, not getting involved can open new possibilities. Other choices are... It's a horror visual novel, by the way. That's what I know about it. That's about all I know about it, other than the fact that I can get it all in one playthrough. I can do it all in one video, which is what I was looking for. We're keeping the Halloween spirit alive, people! Alright, let's see here. Other choices aren't timed. These options only determine whether Kika, I'm assuming that's your playable character, has any special affection for another character or not. If you survive until the second night, the story will branch off into 5 different plot lines based on your earlier decisions. The other characters cannot manage all situations and... The music just stopped there. Where the fuck was I? Oh, the other characters cannot manage all situations in the various plot lines regardless blah 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 blah. Let's get into it! My grip on my lantern lightens as the fog around us thickens. Oh, fuck. While the forests in this area are relatively safe compared to Sinlos, I can't help but feel my hair stand on end the further we get. My free hand fingers the hilt of my sword, something akin to a nervous reflex. Okay, so it's medieval, or someplace with sword.
Have you seen it before?
My sword? It's kind of in my pants right now. Bamel breaks the silence, either sensing my unease or assuaging his own. I hope it's the latter.
I haven't. I've had no reason to go near this cursed lake until now. What have you?
Bamel scratches his chin casually, as though I asked what his favorite food is.
I traveled a long way around it once before. Not so pleasant. Something about it just frays your nerves. Although, even being near it is enough.
So I'm not the only one who feels it. A sense of relief hits me. But not enough to undo the buzzing of anxiety. The lake, Sinlos, most try their best to avoid it all their lives. The hundreds who die attempting to cross it. The hundreds who die attempting to cross its unearthly black water, dragged to death by creatures lurking within, aren't a secret.
No wonder you were assigned this mission.
There are a few who've had first-hand experiences with the place. Even if from a distance, he'll probably keep being picked whenever they need someone to cross, for however long he's with us. Bamel shrugs, bringing my attention back to the dark path before us.
At least we're taking the bridge this time. It'll only take 2 days instead of double that, and the sooner this place is behind us, the better.
It would be preferable not to risk it. But time is of the essence. We don't really have a choice.
Okay, something's going on. One of our allied villages, Hammer, is being harassed by brigadiers. A band of ruffians. We don't have many guards to send as an assist, only Bamel and myself. The least we can do is arrive before we're too late to be of any use. These kinds of squabbles happen often, but have to be put down lest they turn into a blood grudge or all-out war. The last we heard, neither option was that far off.
I can also see why they chose you to come out here.
I glance at Bemel, an eyebrow raised. A slight smile plays across his lips.
You're always so calm and so serious. Nothing can get to you. You're the best choice they had.
Flattery. Flattery gets you nowhere. A smile now tugs at my own lips. Apparently it gets him somewhere. I would like to thank him, but that wouldn't be so calm and serious as he had just described. And if that's how he sees me, I'd like to keep it that way. My lack of reaction only makes his smile grow, and he chuckles a bit before refocusing on the path. I'd do the same. I wouldn't be right to let my guard down in a place like this. But Mel appears to feel differently, however.
You know the town on the other side of the lake, though. It's not so similar to ours. If all goes well, perhaps we'll have enough time to enjoy the new area.
He's flirting with me. For the most part, I ignore him, nodding when applicable. But Mel is a talkative sort, and if chatting helps keep his worries down and a sword hand ready, I have no complaints. Ooh, creepy. I like it. Ooh, after a time, the thick fog surrounding us begins to clear. A slick wooden dock comes into view, and with it, the sound of water gently lapping at its sides. Bemel shifts beside me, stretching his lantern arm as far as it will go. He seems tense. Well, yeah, he's stretching his arm out all the fucking way. That's gotta tense you up a bit.
Someone's already here.
A young woman stands by the docks, eyeing us warily. Does she intend to cross tonight? I hope not! She's adorable! She can't die! Evidently she has the same question as we step up to her. It's not clear, or it's clear she isn't simply passing by. She's waiting. The stranger nods curtly to us.
Margaret.
Bitch, should I ask your name?
Kika the Steadfast.
You got a fucking title.
Bemele.
Bemele,
Hello?
okay. I've been mispronouncing his name wrong this whole fucking time. ... There's a stuffy silence. Margaret turns to gaze out across the lake. Expression unclear. With not much to say, Bemele and I do the same. Can you not breathe in my ear, please? That's fucking rude. From here, the black surface of the lake looks disarmingly calm. Wind rushes across its surface. It sounds like whispering. That's the ghosties you're hearing. Though perhaps it actually is whispering. I concentrate, trying to place the difference, searching for breaks and rhythm. After a few seconds, I feel foolish. Doesn't matter what the noise is, whether I heard them or not. We're not alone. The Nixie are out there. What's a Nixie? A feeling that I can't quite shake tells me they've already noticed the little group of people on their shores. It feels hostile. My stomach sinks, and I instead address Bemele.
Where is the guide?
Unless he's on the center island, or on the complete other side, your guess is as good as mine. It's dark as pitch out there.
That's an interesting way to word it. Panic rises inside me. Panic I try hard to quell. Stay calm! Just stay calm. Are you calm? Hey, fucking calm down in there! I see you panicking.
We can't cross without him, and we need to get going soon.
You can't cross with him either.
The woman behind us, Margaret, cuts in with something like a snort.
What?
That's what I want to know.
I know the guide will be here tonight. I have already made arrangements with him to cross.
Bemele and I share a look. The woman seems haughty and willing to put up a
I
fuss.
have his word he'll take me today. It would be wiser for the two of you to begin the trip around if you're really in such a hurry. Or you can make camp here and wait for him to make the trip back if you prefer.
Bitch, we going with you. Alright, you have a face and a name and a voice, you're an important character. We going with you. I don't need to turn my attention to Bemele to know he's riled up. I step in before he can say something rash.
Even if that is so, my companion and I must begin the trip tonight.
Margaret is unimpressed and opens her mouth to argue further.
We'll wait for the guide to arrive before coming to a conclusion about any of this.
She clamps her mouth shut, then lets out a sigh.
You can do as you like.
Damn right I can, this is my game! With the matter tentatively settled, Bemele moves away. His finger begins to tap loudly against the top of his hilt. He shifts from one foot to another, then groans.
What's that bastard even up to?
I almost visibly start, but manage to refrain myself. He probably doesn't know any better. I'm not sure of that. It's not worth mentioning.
With a mouth like that, you shouldn't even have the right to ask the guide to take you across.
Bitch, fuck you! I'll swear whenever I want, and so will he.
How ludicrous. He's faced far worse than a bit of foul language.
Do you know anything that's happened with this lake?
I know enough.
What did happen here? Margaret is clearly not convinced, but she shrugs and makes a show of turning her back to him.
The guide's father is Garvin the Exemplar. Garvin never accepted the guide as his son, all the way up until he died in this lake. Your statement could be seen as tasteless.
Oh.
Bemele rubs the back of his neck, his face regretful.
My apologies.
Oh, that
to
makes
the
sense.
guide. I didn't mean it that way. I never knew about his... well, that.
A smile spreads across my face, one I quickly wipe away. He really did just misspeak. The silence slowly stretches between the three of us, growing more awkward with each passing second. Margaret seems irritated, and Bemele abashed. Oh god. I don't like Margaret. She a bitch. Okay, so there's a bit of a romance option here is what I'm feeling. Margaret's a bitch. I don't like her. Bemele seems nice. A bit dumb, but nice. I'm gonna stay quiet for this one. We each remain locked inside our own thoughts, not another word passing between us. Eventually, a small light appears on the bridge ahead, gently swaying through the foggy air. It gets closer and closer, until it becomes apparent it's a figure carrying a lantern. Well, what else would it fucking be? That must be the guide, although I can't shake the ghostly aura it gives off. The figure steps out onto the shore, but we wait for him to approach us instead of going to meet him. None of us are sure how close to the waters we can get before it's no longer safe. Oh, he's cute! He stops in front of us and simply stares.
Are you the guide of Sinlos?
The man nods. He has a sharp face and weary eyes.
Well, that's grand. We would like an escort across the lake.
Bemele motions to the two of us, and Margaret approaches, a strange smile on her
Hello,
face.
it's good to see you again. I'm ready to cross, as we've agreed upon.
Bitch! The guide turns to face her. To face her as well, face remaining unchanged. That's a redundant sentence. It must not be a lie. He would have had to say something otherwise. She really does have preference to travel with him. That's a problem.
Is there a way we can all begin the trip tonight?
Yes, I will allow all three of you to go. But with that many, at least one will die before we reach the other side.
I'm okay with that, Margaret. I furrow my brow on a disturbing addendum, and one offered with little emotion attached. Bemele glares back, asking without asking what we're supposed to do with such circumstances. We gotta go!
You should go around.
No, fuck that. The sentence hangs in the air, the second half unspoken, if you want to live.
We don't have time for that. There are people counting on us for protection. Why does she need to go?
He jerks a finger at Margaret, whose face contorts with anger.
I don't need to explain myself to you. My journey has already been put off once, and I was promised I could go today. I will be going under any circumstances.
Bitch, what makes you so important, huh? She meets Bemilé's eyes with a gaze of steel. He starts to speak, and then she cuts
An
in.
extra day or two shouldn't be that much of a problem for you. Whoever you're meeting can surely wait such a tiny amount longer. Patience is a virtue, after all.
Did you not hear him say people's lives are at stake here? And you could take your own fucking advice.
The night is only so long, and if we're still on the bridges when the sun comes up, we'll all die as they sink back below the surface. If you don't decide soon, no one will be going.
The guide is dispassionate, stoic. I would almost feel something's wrong with him if I didn't share the trait myself. Bemilé pulls me to the side, jaw clenched
That
tight.
woman isn't armed.
His voice is low. He darts a glance at
We can
Margaret.
easily get her to back off if we make this into an actual fight. After all, we have to go tonight, yes? If one of us really is to die, it'll be her. Would staying be a worse fate than her death?
No, I prefer her death. But then I'm an asshole like that, so... I'm sorry, if I think you a bitch in a horror, you gon' die. That's how this works. I stare at the dock, refusing to meet Bemilé's eyes, and try to keep my voice as level as possible.
We don't know her situation. This isn't a decision we can make for her.
What?
Bemilé leans in closer, apparently having missed what I said. I remove the sympathy for her in my response when I speak
The
again.
guide won't accept something like that, I assume.
His face is grim.
Then what else do you have in mind?
First of all, you and I cannot split up. Either we both stay, or we both go.
Right. That's not a question.
Yep, never separate the party. D&D 101, especially in a horror game. Oh my god, that would be the worst thing you could do. I cross my arms, a hand on my chin. I have full confidence in my abilities and in Bemilé's. But there's no reason not to believe the guide would know exactly what he's talking about. If we go, he might not be able to give the group the attention we each deserve. That would mean we truly would be putting Margaret's life at risk, on top of our own. We gon' go.
And I believe you.
Bemilé's reply is firm. My steadfastness seems almost weak in comparison to its certainty. He addresses the guide.
We shouldn't waste more time. Let's shove off.
The guide slowly turns around, without even a nod to show his agreement. Margaret stares at Bemilé and me, something of resolve in her gaze. Then she follows after the guide. At least she didn't insist we stay
We
behind.
should do what we can to protect her. It's our fault she's being put in even further danger.
Exactly my thoughts. We will take care of everything. Maybe I'm being naive, but I have no intentions of letting anyone fall victim to this lake tonight. Those monsters can starve.
He turns to follow the others across. Someone's gonna die. I can already tell. Someone's gonna die. I will protect everyone on this trip. I will. We will make it through this. Oh, hey, I got an achievement. Then I step out onto the dock and join them. Oh, God. As soon as I stepped onto the wood, the temperature drops. The light of my lamp shines against the water surface, as reflective as mirror. Until we reach the land again, Death is only one small mistake away. We fall into line with the guide leading the way. Margaret stays close to him, and I behind her, watching to make sure she doesn't slip on the slick, wet wood. Bemele brings up the rear. Squeaky. Each of us holds our lanterns in front of us, but it does little good. The fog is thick and nigh impenetrable, consuming the light as if hungry for it. Above the surface, the lake is deathly quiet. No longer is there the whispering wind, nor the sound of water lapping against the shore. It's just our own mismatched footsteps, and the sound of my quickened breath, or breathing. My eyes dart back to the lake. That's pretty. Against my better judgment, it's no wonder there's not even the sound of water with how still the surface is. It seems almost sturdy, with the sheen of a black marble floor. I've heard rumors the water of Sinlos is heavier, more difficult to disturb than natural water. That just the weight of it is oppressive, or that just the weight of its oppressive cling is enough to keep someone down, even without them. I want to see these things. Like, I get that the point of the game is to not see them, but I want to see them. Something even darker than the abyss of the lake flickers just below the surface, or at least, I think it does. I turn my gaze to Margaret's back. It's better to stay focused.
Fall back a bit. You're following me too closely.
The guide is looking over his shoulder, addressing Margaret.
Sorry.
If someone gets pulled into the lake, they'll instinctively reach for anything to hold on to. Do not let that be you.
Margaret's shoulders rise, and she nods with great seriousness.
I understand. Thank you for the advice.
So, something's pulling us on. Something's gonna try and pull us under, is what I'm getting at. Or is what I'm feeling they're getting at. Oh shit. Just fucking tug the cords there. I haven't done that shit in a while. He ignores her gratitude.
You
I
can
like
speak
this guy.
amongst yourselves if you so choose, as long as you pay attention to where you're going. There is no worth in listening to the sounds out there. If there's anything at all, it'll only be Nixie trying to set you on edge.
All right. Then, could you tell us your name? You didn't have a chance to properly introduce yourself, and I've only heard you being referred to as the guide.
I don't have a name.
Well, that's edgy. He's facing the front again, his voice expressionless as before. I have no way of guessing how he feels as he says this.
Oh.
It's probably not something he wishes to talk about. However, there was something else I wanted to say to change the subject. It's
Margaret,
not difficult.
Thank you for allowing us to join you.
Margaret shrugs non-committally.
It wasn't exactly up to me. The guide said he would take you.
Bitch! I'm trying to be friendly here! She hesitates and then looks tentatively over her shoulder at me.
But thank you for saying that. It's appreciated.
You're fucking welcome!
Bemele and I will do our best to be an asset on this trip, rather than a burden.
That's nice. I'm not afraid to be out here, though. Still, at least with your training, you should be able to take care of yourselves.
We're not the ones I'm worried about here. It's comforting to know that everyone here is so confident in their abilities. Not enough to forget how terrible it feels to be over this lake. I'm not sure if that is fortunate or unfortunate. Believing yourself to be secure doesn't mean that you are. Again, right in my ears, rude! As the conversation lulls, a new sound breaks through. It's the whispering noise again. It's the chatter of inhuman voices. And this time, coming from all around us.
Taking care of yourself is exactly what you need to do.
The guide is speaking again, except louder. as if to cover the Nixie's voice with his own.
Work to survive at all costs, and hope that everyone around you has enough sense to do the same. That's the only way you'll make it to the other side.
Margaret nods in response, but I hear a grunt from behind
Groups
me.
tend to go further when they work together to achieve the same goal.
The guide doesn't say anything in response to Bemile's grumbling either. I'm not sure whether he didn't hear Bemile, or whether he just didn't feel the statements made thus far are worthy of addressing. I have a feeling it's the latter. We go around a large bend in the bridge, a part of it forking off another way. I wonder how the guide knows which of these essentially identical paths is correct. When something in the corner of my eye catches my attention, is it a
I
Nixie?
believe I saw something over there.
Keep walking. No need to worry.
The guide's voice is calm and level. I decide against pressing the issue, not wanting to set everyone more on edge.
What did he say?
Perhaps not wanting the conversation to be caught by the guide, he speaks softly, though I couldn't quite hear him because of it. Whoa! I take my eyes off Margaret. I had for a moment to explain it to Bemile, and stop dead in my tracks. Only one word is able to escape me in my stunned state. Well, that guy is fucking creepy. Behind Bemile stands another figure looming in the darkness. Seeing my face, Bemile grabs the hilt of his sword. He whips around, then staggers swiftly backwards. Several meters away, a crooked, twisted black figure hobbles its way toward us. Some kind of liquid drips off its head, curling around the edges of its face. It almost looks like it's crying. Bemile backs up until he's standing beside me. The figure continues its slow advance, head jerking from one angle to the other.
Earth?
It's one of them.
Yes, Nixie that stumble across the bridges looking for opportunities.
The guide is standing next to us. I didn't even notice him
The
approach.
ones that can make it out of the water are generally referred to as prowlers.
I had no idea things like that were out here. Is that what Kika saw down the other path?
The guide says nothing. Instead, returning to the front of the party, Margaret watches him pass. Her frustration morphs into nervous optimism when something seems to come to her mind.
Well, Nixie aren't slowed down much by swords, but at least the light keeps them away, right?
Margaret's hand grips her face tight, and desperation bleeds into her voice. I bite the inside of my lip.
Direct light will force it to return to the lake. However, it'll try to drag the light, or you, down with it before it goes.
Instinctively, I reach for the hilt of my sword, despite the fact that it would do little to protect me. The prowler is getting closer, jerking forward, stopping, then resuming its slow advance.
Does anyone have a light we can leave here? That way it won't follow us.
Only matches.
Bemile spits. He's the one bringing up the rear, so he's the most likely to be in danger if it keeps following. The guide, however, moves
Don't forget
forward.
it's there, don't let your guard down, and don't get left behind.
What? How am I supposed to keep walking with this thing at my heels? You said it wants to attack.
Don't give it the chance.
Bemile sputters in anger, and the guide similarly ignores him. I solidly grab hold of Bemile's upper arm.
Here, I'll lead you like this, and you can keep your focus solely on the prowler. Make sure it doesn't get too close.
Bemile's eyes. Fuck. Bemile eyes the guide with unresolved hostility, but allows himself to softly sigh in relief. He gazes at me with fondness.
At least there's someone I can count on.
Despite the fact I'm going against his advice, the guide says nothing more. It's clear now that he doesn't give a damn what we end up doing. Some part of me is glad for that. I want to help everyone make it through, and it would be worse to have to persuade the guide every time help was necessary.
Kika, thank you.
Bemele places a gentle hand on my shoulder. I like him. He's actually kind of nice. I guess I'll show affection here. I feel Bemele start as I reciprocate his touch. But just as quickly as a smile replaces his shock. The moment is pleasant, a small balm against a large burn. I harden my expression, and Bemele follows suit. He moves his free arm down, and fully link his arm with mine. And now, properly settled, look forward. Margaret is following the guide with some reluctance, turning back every so often to check on us. I wave my lantern to signal we're catching up. Margaret returns her head to the front and quickens her pace. With a tug on Bemele, we start to follow them. God, that sounded like crunching bones! The four of us continue cautiously over the bridges. Only this time, the wet, squishing footsteps of the prowler join the sound of our own. In spite of myself, I grip Bemele tighter. Oh shit, excuse me. Where was I? The prowler walks without a set pattern, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. It takes long steps, then short ones. At times, it stops walking entirely. Does it hurt to be out of the water like this? Or is it trying to be difficult to read? Suddenly, the whispering in the lake grows louder. I steel myself, trying not to let it get to me. The most important thing in a situation like this is to remain calm. I can't lose my head. Sure you can! Then, all at once, I notice the guide and Margaret have come to a halt.
Bemele, they're stopping.
Bemele slows down as I do. God, this is fucking loud in my ear. Bemele slows down as I do. Wrong one. There we go. And as we near Margaret's back, she says something akin to... Or she says with something akin to distress.
There's another one.
I tug on Bemele, and he understands. We draw up close to Margaret, ready to protect her if need be. But the guide holds out a hand.
Don't get any closer.
Just over his shoulder, I see another prowler stumbling toward us. White liquid dripping from its eyes. The guide's hand turns over in the air.
Give me a lantern. We'll throw it.
Margaret extends her own with a trembling hand, with Bemele when Bemele speaks instead. His back
If
still
you have
turned.
to take someone's, take mine.
Yes, an extra light won't do us much good when we're standing this close together.
Margaret takes Bemele's lantern from him. Guarded relief displayed on her
Thank you.
features. She hands the lantern to the guide, whose hand grips it tightly, knuckles growing pale.
Stay here. I can't throw it too far. The light will blow out before it reaches the Nyx.
He steps closer to the monster, his movements light and confident. Oh god. As he nears the prowler starts to back away. It's only the approaching light that's making it retreat. Is it only the light? I can't fucking read. Is it only the approaching light that makes it retreat, or are they afraid of him? The guide is far enough away from us that the fog is partly obscuring him, hiding his movements. The voices from the lake grow louder and louder. Water suddenly begins to splash across the lake. In the distance and onto the edges of the bridge. They want him to mess up. I don't notice how tense I am until Bemele eases my grasp on his arm. Then, suddenly, the guide takes multiple long and fast strides forward, throws the lantern, and jumps backwards to regain the lost distance. There's a sharp hiss, and then a deep splash, and the voices of the Nixie grow quieter. Not silent, but quieter. A sigh escapes me, and the guide comes back to our group.
We should keep going before it comes back.
I glance at Bemele and realize he too is looking relieved at the guide before us. And then I see it. Jesus! The first prowler. It's still there. It's right there. Pull forward. Fuck! Did I get him? It lunges at Bemele. It hits his leg, and he goes down, taking me with him. We slam against the bridge, our lantern blinking out as it hits the wood. We're engulfed in darkness and fog before I can do anything. And before I can do anything, a Nyx reaches out from the edge of the bridge and clings to Bemele. It pulls hard, separating the two of us. Bemele quickly slides nearer the edge as the Nyx retreats. Bemele struggles to loosen the monster's long fingers from him to no avail. I like Bemele! Don't kill Bemele!
No!
I lunge forward, but my hands only slap the surface of the bridge. I try to crawl closer, yet I can't keep up with the rapid pace of the horror playing out in front of me. Margaret rushes over to me, bathing me in her lantern's light, scaring away another Nyx at the surface's edge. The Nyx with Bemele likewise dives fully back into the black waters, dragging him completely off the side.
Bemele!
Well, that sucks! I scramble to the edge, and Bemele is there, flailing to keep above water. Before I can extend a hand toward him, he is violently yanked underneath.
Bemele!
Aw, is she crying? The surface of the water grows still again, and in just a few seconds, as if the entire altercation hadn't happened, as if Bemele hadn't just been taken, as if he'd never been here in the first place. I stare down at the void in disbelief. A clicking, cluttering sound, like the whining of cicadas, erupts around us. The Nixie are laughing. Inevitability. I just got the inevitability achievement. A hand grips my shoulder. The guide pulls Margaret and I back over the center of the bridge, grabbing my lantern and holding it in front of my face.
Relight it. We're moving forward.
I stare at the lantern, unable to move.
What happened here? It didn't happen. Not until we reach the shore. Pretend he will be there on the other side. Whatever it takes.
Okay, I don't like that. I rise to my feet, barely conscious of what's happening. Margaret helps stabilize me. The guide holds out the lantern again, and this time I take it. My free hand slips into my pouch, pulling out a box of matches. I get one out and hold it up in front of my face. I can't seem to figure out what to do next. Margaret gently takes a match from my hand, relighting my lantern for me. As the light bursts to life and shines across her face, I feel like crying. The guide nods and begins forward again. Stiffly I follow, the box of matches crumpling in my grip. Margaret, now sure that I'm as okay as I can be, catches up to the guide, but remains closer to me than she did before.
What happened to the other lantern?
It was taken after the light went out.
What conversation there was, or could have been, gets no further. It barely penetrates my mind. Margaret hovers nearby, watching me with clear worry on her face. I want to say something, to reassure her, but I feel like I'm barely even in my own body. Nothing feels real. I can't escape Bemele being gone. I can't accept that he's gone for good. Just like that, he can't have disappeared. The guide's words flow through my mind, and it's remarkably easy to believe what he said. Bemele will be waiting for me on the other side. Or maybe he'll be in the tavern when I make it back home, clapping me on the back and commending me for a job well done. He'll be laughing and drinking, as he usually does, starting a fuss with the other guards. He can't just be gone. It can't be that I won't see his face again. A dim, unusual noise penetrates the fog of my mind, and I realize Margaret is trying to talk to me. Her words sound far away, like she's speaking through a tunnel. She smiles nervously at me. I only look at her. The smile slides off her face. Instead, she stays by my side, walking forward with me.
Huh?
Something is pulling on my arm. Warmth penetrates my cloth armor. And the feeling grounds me slightly in my body. Margaret is whispering to me, pulling me forward and pointing at the guide. My eyes follow her finger, and I realize the guide is getting further.
He's moving faster.
And then I snap back into awareness. Danger is still afoot, and Margaret is still alive. Shame trickles down my neck. Shame for having lost my wits. I'm not supposed to be this way. I double my speed, feet pounding hard against wood. The sound and the rhythm soothe me enough to fully clear.
Thank you for telling me, Margaret.
I say it quietly. So quietly, I'm sure she can't hear. But as Margaret runs past me, getting into her original position, she pants in response.
You're welcome.
We go faster and faster, until suddenly we're full-on sprinting across the slick wooden boards. You gon' slip! Figures in the dark fog fly past as a blur. And it occurs to me that the branching paths in the bridge appear to be sinking. I try hard to swallow my rising panic. The guide shouts something, but it's drowned out by the frantic pounding of our footsteps. I'm trying to piece together what he said. Don't. Stop. Turn? When he takes a masterfully sharp right down a different path, using his own momentum and the sleek wood to slide into a new direction with no loss of speed. Margaret must not have worked out the warning, as she is completely caught off guard by the guide's change of course. She runs straight ahead. Okay, I'm gonna have to use my arrow keys here in a second, aren't I? She runs straight ahead, past the turn, and continues down the path we've been following up until now. She clumsily begins to halt her momentum down the wrong bridge. Then I come upon the fork. I make a hard turn, following the guide and leaving Margaret at the rear. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Margaret turning around to try and come back, only to have the bridge in front of her fall away. Well, bye! I was actually starting to like her, too. I slow down for a breath, feeling the impulse to turn back, but ignore it. There's no time Margaret can make the jump. There's no time. Margaret can make the jump, and then she'll rejoin us. I keep my eyes glued to the guide's back, ears perked from Margaret's footsteps approaching behind us, and then I hear it. A scream. I whip around, sliding to a stop. Margaret is sinking. The bridge she's on is sinking into the water. I'm not gonna lose both of you now, alright? No, we gotta save one of them, alright? I'm not getting a really bad ending. Margaret is sinking. The bridge. Okay, I said that already. She's disappearing. She didn't
What are
jump.
you doing?
Margaret's head shoots up, her face drained of all color. She stumbles near the edge of the bridge, staring at the placid water of the lake. Even from a distance, I can see her shaking. I can't say if it's from the bridge's descent or her own fear. She barely seems to remain standing. I swallow painfully. Margaret bends and tries to jump. She curves in a small arc, achieving more height than she should, and lands directly in the lake with a muted splash. Oh, she's gone! I start running again, leaving Margaret flailing in the water behind me. I don't want to watch this. I know exactly what will happen to her now. Margaret's anguished cries peer through the night. Then the screaming stops. My legs grow weak. It isn't right, but I push myself to keep going. I try to focus on the pounding of my feet, but my brain won't cooperate. Instead, I imagine Margaret's terror as she's clawed to pieces by the Nixie. I After everything, I didn't help her. We left her in the dark. As night wears on, our strength rapidly fades. How much longer will this last? People have to rest sometime. Almost as if in response to my thought, the guide abruptly halts. I skid to a stop as well, sliding on the surface of the wood. The guide stares at something slightly out of view. I step up to join him, following his gaze further down the path. There, curled in a tiny ball, illuminated by the lantern's light, cowers a person. His hands grip his head as he rocks from side to side, mumbling incoherently.
It's a man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't. I just couldn't. Please. I'm sorry.
I'm struck with an array of questions. What's going on here? Why would he wander out on these bridges on his own? Did he make it this far by himself? Where were the others with him? If that's somehow the case, I can't blame him for the state of shock he's in. The man stops mumbling. He glances above him, seemingly only just now having the strength to lift his head. His expression, the deepest sadness, along with the clear markings of terror, are scrawled across his face. I stare at him in shock, not sure what to do.
Leave him.
Nope, that ain't happening. I snap my eyes away from the man, and instead to the guide's cold, implacable face.
Haven't we lost enough as it is?
I clenched my fist in exasperation, disturbance rising at the lack of concern he allows for the departed. It's as if their existence has already been wiped bare from his mind. The guide regards me piercingly. I have no intention of flinching in front of him, but there was no need to be concerned, as he almost immediately turns his eyes on the newcomer. The man is standing now, though still hunched with his arms wrapped around himself, as if expecting a blow. He stares at the ground rather than at us. Because of this, I'm having trouble reading his face. What exactly happened to him?
Are you well, stranger? Do you know where you are and why you're here?
He glances up, not at me. He glances up, not at me, but towards me, his eyes resting somewhere near my collar.
I'm fine. You all can go on your way. Forget you even saw me here.
No.
He lifts his head, wide eyes looking up at me
You
incredulously.
need a lantern in order to ward off the Nixie. The light keeps them at bay. You may come with us. I offer you my protection.
The guide interjects curtly.
If he is to come, then you along with him will need to travel split off from myself. You may only walk near enough to see my lantern, not my form, and no closer. I did not agree to lead this man.
What an ass! Raw wrath boils up within me. Why is he being so unreasonable? He should not care if this man comes along. He has never let the presence of another person impact his own safety, regardless. I choked a gulp. Or bleh! I turn a choked gulp into a headstrong huff. I cannot fucking read. I raise my eyes to glower directly into his. I know an opponent I cannot defeat when I duel with one, but that doesn't mean I can't make my disgust clear.
All right. We will stay behind.
I keep my voice level until a sharp bite at the end. The guide makes eye contact with the newcomer one final time before turning and advancing forward, leaving us in his dimming lantern light. As I watch him move forward, I continue to seethe. My thoughts drift to all of the events that have unfolded this dreadful night. Against my own wishes, I begin to feel torn between all the regrets and sympathies I have for Bemile and Margaret, and the acknowledgement that it is because such things happen that the guide is likely refusing to take any chances. I don't understand how I'm supposed to feel, or what I am meant to do anymore. My head starts to reel, leaving me with the only option there has ever been, pushing the emotions to the corner of my mind. Ugh, fuck, I'm getting tired. Why? It's only like 3. The mission is all that matters for now. Let me save real quick. Empty slot 1. Alright, I might just leave that here. How long has this been going on? 50 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. This is longer than I intended it to be. Menu. Return to main menu, yes. I just saved, so yeah, that won't matter. Quit. Alright, so. Oh, I was expecting this to be done in one video, but I guess that's not the case. This is interesting. It's a bit slow, but I already lost 2 people because I fucked up. One because I didn't react fast enough, and once because I went the wrong way. Yay, I'm a fucking idiot. But we have that newcomer too, so we'll see what happens with him. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, be sure to destroy that like button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, stay beautiful. Bye-bye.